What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Conde, and today we're going to be doing some progress on my comic book, specifically page 65 and 66. So let's get started. Right, so last episode we were working on page 65, and we still had to continue on this lower frame of the page. Some of the character drawings have to get done, and for some reason this scene became kind of long to do. In the background, one of the things that are changing mainly from the original frame of Webtoons is that I'm adding these spine roots to the cells, because originally they were just like big bones, kind of teeth or something like that, or ribs, and it didn't look like really dangerous to the people that is in prison. So I wanted to change that, and I made this kind of like rooty with pincher, how would you say that? Yeah, it's kind of like very pointy and dangerous for the people that is going to be trapped when they try to get out or something. So it feels more like a prison, and also in like it's more symbolic, I think, for the situation. Not even just being trapped, but also being around all of these things that can hurt you. I think it gives a more clear message that the situation that she's gonna be in is not the best, right? So that's something that I wanted to do. And originally in this frame you don't see any of this, so I wanted to change that. Other than that, it's been kind of long to do this scene for some reason. Well, I mean, it has 5 characters on it, and also have a background work, and it's like really different from the original scene on the webtoons. Also, there's, as I said on the episode before, this page has that new frame on the middle that kind of makes things a bit longer. In terms of like when you're reading it, it's gonna feel a tiny bit longer. Like each page, some of them will have a new frame, some of them are completely new. Those, sadly, I don't have them recorded to put, but it's more like at the beginning of the comic, or should I say graphic novel. Honestly, I don't know what the correct term is. I guess a comic is just like small and it has several chapters. This one had several chapters originally, but I'm intended to get it out in just one book, so I guess it's more of a graphic novel kind of a thing. And man, yeah, this scene was I was kind of already not bored, because I'm working on my own universe, my own creation, so it's never boring, but it's definitely work, and it can feel a little bit repetitive sometimes, especially if you don't see like how much you are advancing. But since the main reason I started doing this series was to basically just do progress without thinking about how far I was going daily, I think this is a good thing, the way that it is coming out, and the way that it's allowing me just to put time on it without being extremely judgy of my progress. The next page, which is gonna also start in this episode, it's gonna be fun, because you're gonna see the sketching process on top of the older frames, and you're really gonna notice the expansion of the scenes from scratch. This shadowing work sometimes is kind of fun, but then when you have to do like a large area, it's kind of, I don't know, it can be a little bit boring, that part, depending on how much you have to to cover, right? But it's not so much, so it's okay. Like, it's not that difficult. The same movement of your hand gives you like these patterns that look kind of nice. And sorry that sometimes it just gets stuck. I was just answering messages to family members because of a situation that is going on at the moment with my mom, and sometimes I just stop drawing for a little bit to answer because I don't want to be completely off the phone at the moment. But yeah, I think it's looking pretty good considering the amount of like detail that I put, which is not that much. But when you see it on print, when you see it printed, it does look like a lot of, especially on A4 format. It's kind of impressive how these little lines can look like a lot of detail when you look at printed like that. Because in the screen you can do zoom in and it doesn't look like much, but when you have it on print, it looks really different. Right, so this is the next page. This is page 66, and this is kind of like the sketching process that I do whenever I'm going to start on expanding one of the frames. And it's basically just fixing everything that is wrong. These characters were done like super quickly, and there's a lot of balloons on top of them. So some of the areas of the body were actually like cut out, and I didn't even draw them because there was text on top of them. And in this case, I'm doing what I was telling you about the cells, which is basically just adding these pinching things on the roots. So it's kind of like, so it looks more dangerous. And I think it really adds to this scene. And the next one is gonna be the same. Like, it's gonna add a lot of new meaning to these scenes, because originally it didn't feel like a cell too much. It just felt like, okay, you are inside of this thing, but it doesn't look like it's gonna be difficult to escape from them. So now it's different. Now it's kind of like, all right, if I leave, at least I'm gonna be hurt. I'm gonna either lose a lot of blood, or I'm gonna hurt my wings, or whatever. You know, it looks dangerous enough to not want to leave it. And this is more of the expansion, which is kind of hard to just think about what the perspective will be in this area. I'm trying not to be overcomplicated with doing like perspective grids or vanishing points. I should, but sometimes you just want to draw, and I don't think it's a huge deal, at least for these scenes, to get the perfect, like extremely perfect vanishing point and everything, you know. Some of the scenes are more like very important, perhaps, but not those kinds of scenes. I'm thinking more of towards the end, when there's like a fight and there's like a lot more action. Those, in fact, will need more of a perfect kind of a perspective effect, so it looks way more interesting. And this one, because it has less characters, is you don't see their faces and all of that, it's kinda coming along way faster than the other one. And you can see that sketch was really quick, and doing these changes on these frames is also been really quick. There's a lot of consistency problems on the webtoons in terms of like what's been drawn here and what's been drawn there, like, because I knew people wasn't going to be paying a whole ton of attention to the frames. I was kind of loose on purpose, but now that it's gonna be printed, and people could actually, in fact, just comparing one frame to another, especially if you have the pages side by side, it's gonna be harder to not notice when something just doesn't look right. So I'm trying to be as accurate as possible with the outfits and with the proportions and everything else. So I was there just going back and forth with the other frame so I could compare it. And yeah, I really like how this scene came out, especially reinforcing those shadows on the ground. I think it kind of gives this effect of this cool lighting effect. And yeah, it's kind of fun because now it does look really different with those spine roots. It's not done though. Like this frame, I will probably work it a little bit more on the next episode, and it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be fun enough for me to just continue with it. The one on the top though, the one on the top with a lot of characters, that's gonna be kind of could be a little bit of annoying, but because it's just, you know, people like other fairies just screaming out and complaining and stuff, it could be a little bit more, you know, interesting to work on that. It's gonna be different outfits. It's gonna be like a whole kind of a challenge. And man, I just hope people like all this thing that I'm doing. You know, like all those changes, all those things really add up to a really nice final version of the comic. And it looks interesting enough to catch people's attention. And I think this is it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. It was really fun to work on these pages today. And yeah, looks pretty cool. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.